get the video? All right, thanks for coming out, everyone. Welcome to the first night of the Impact Venture Challenge. We got a short video that's sort of going to cast the night, and then we're going to talk about how this all started. So. All right, Abby, let's tell them how it all started.
How you guys doing tonight? Come on, let's be more lively. It's chilly outside.
Man. So we call it the IVC, the Impact Venture Challenge. And this video sort of captures why we feel compelled to do something like this, why we feel that Messiah College needs to do something in the realm of entrepreneurship. And it's pretty cool to see everyone who's turned out tonight. And it'll be cool to see who signs up too, to kind of see if that perpetuates. But I don't know, go back to junior year and how this kind of whole entrepreneurship thing started getting started. So
junior year, Dylan, John Hershey, can you stand up real quick? Just real quick. John Hershey, and is Cameron here? Cameron Gilmore?
Oh, man. He's absent.
Okay. Well, us four got together and we started talking about entrepreneurship and what we could do on campus in terms of entrepreneurship. We tried to create some sort of club or some sort of entrepreneurship society that we wanted to house entrepreneurial endeavors here at Messiah. And then we got the opportunity to go to this organization called Praxis Labs. They had this Praxis Academy this summer. Yeah,
it's for like student entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, in the gospel-centered, faith-informed kind of realm, and definitely focused on impact ventures, social impact, and the good that can come out of business, whether it's for-profit or non-profit, the things that you can kind of change in the world and the problems that you can address through business.
Yeah, and it also addressed how you can change culture through business. So we really addressed how businesses in and of themselves actually create the culture that we have. For example, like look at your phones. If you guys have an iPhone, that as a business has changed the culture and society that we are in today. So from there, we really grew a passion for entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it was a catalyst.
After we got back.
Yeah, we just wanted to do anything we could, entrepreneurial. We were like, let's start a business. We don't know how. All right, what do we do? Why doesn't Messiah College have something like this? Well, let's do that. Let's make something at Messiah College. And so we come back and we have class with Professor Nejma, and he's like, all right, you guys are going to have to write a business plan by the end of the semester, and then we'll see if you guys can launch it. A lot of my students have launched, their businesses out of this class. We're like, no way, like that's crazy. And, like, what about the money that you need? We don't know how to write a business plan. We've never done that before. And then, we pitched this business development idea, and before you know it, at the end of the semester, we're sitting in a room with President Phipps, Dean Maurer of the School of Social Sciences, Education, and Business, and Peter Greer, the new entrepreneur in residence here at Messiah College. We're sitting with those three individuals. Oh, and Tim Sensenig's there. He actually got us the meeting. And we pitched this idea for the Impact Venture Challenge. And they were all about it. And they committed to sponsoring the event, and that's how we're here tonight. So it was pretty awesome that through like this semester of it was like a wave of entrepreneurship, and we were trying to ride it. And we were trying to, catch a big wave and see if we could, help Messiah College catch that wave too. And yeah.
So we're here and we're excited. You guys excited to start some businesses? Yeah. Come on.
So we've got an awesome team. Professor Nejma, he has been a co-laborer in this, an advisor, a leader in making this happen. We're so thankful for his involvement. We've got Irebe Umusangwa, and we've got Curtis Eby, and then Dan Clemente, as well as Ebenezer Degu and myself. We're part of the organizing committee, and we're going to be bringing this to you this semester here in the inaugural season of the IVC. So, without further ado, Professor Nejma.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out. I know some of you who are my current students are here not necessarily by choice, but I hope by the end of tonight you'll be as charged up about this opportunity as I am. Tonight is a kind of realization of a dream I've had. We've been looking at some market data. Forbes did a survey not long ago, told us that about 67% of millennials will start a business in the next 5 years. So I started thinking more about kind of your culture, your environment, and the fact that are we really kind of equipping and tooling you to be able to do that? The second thing we know about your generation is you're very committed to social causes. And so it's not about profit or necessarily wealth creation, but you really want to have an impact in a realm that is exciting to you. And obviously being a Christian college, I certainly think faith informs those ventures. And so the more we started to think about it and norming around those three realms of influence, we decided to really kind of put a vision and a challenge before you, the student body, and actually recent alums, to explore the opportunities of what would it mean to start what we're going to call an impact venture. And tonight we want to unpack the idea of what is an impact venture, what is the competition, so that you leave here well informed about what we mean by the term impact venture and how you can participate in this opportunity. The format for tonight is I'm going to go through a couple of, Dylan, can you go forward? Yeah. We're going to go through a couple things about what is the challenge and the competition, so you're grounded in those rules and the time frames for the things we're going to do. And then I want to kind of do some, just kind of giving you a perspective about this idea of faith informed. What does that mean? How might you unpack that in your own venture that you're going to think about? And then we'll talk specifically about round one. Right, the competition has 3 rounds to it. It opens up tonight. Round 1 ends midnight, February 26th. And what you'll discover is you'll have a 3-page, very brief concept overview that you'll need to submit by then in order to kind of complete your first round submission. And we'll go over all that this evening. In addition tonight, rather than just kind of overwhelm you with information about the competition and Impact Venture Challenge, each student is going to come up that's on the organizing committee and Cam as well, and give you a little vignette, a little caricature, a picture of what some impact ventures are that are actually happening right now, so that you can get a better feel for what they are, and I think that'll kind of help further refine your own ideas about your visions as well. So that's what we hope to do tonight. And when we break out in those vignettes, we're actually going to give you a little bit of time to dialogue in the community right around you on a particular prompt that you'll see. So we got to be efficient in our time, but we want to kind of get you to think a little bit about it, and then we're going to give you an opportunity to tweet questions to us at our Impact Twitter feed, and then we'll kind of have a little dialogue after each of those vignettes, okay? So that's the plan for tonight, and let's just kind of keep going then. Dylan, can you go forward for me? So let's keep going on what the challenge is all about.
Is that working?
Yeah, I think it is. So when we talk about an impact venture, it's the idea of both making a profit and making a difference. Okay? So those two things are very compatible, and there are many ventures that you're going to learn about tonight that'll kind of help unpack that idea. All right, and there's a lot of, in the literature now, I believe the phrase impact venture is eclipsing that of social venture. Okay, and that's the more current terminology that you'll see kind of in the literature and how that's kind of unpacking. This isn't working.
All right, let's use
Okay.
this. You can use these two.
Let's move that over here.
These guys. Whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so why are we doing this at Messiah? What's our motivation for why we want to approach this problem in a particular way? Number one, there are a lot of you that are interested in business. The video clip said it well. I've got these social passions, but the idea of connecting it to business just for many of you is kind of a bridge too far, right? And so we're trying to kind of do a better job of equipping you and kind of giving you the tools that might help you bridge that gap. Number two, you'll find that those of you whose teams make it to round two are going to be assigned a mentor. And that'll be somebody from the business community that has a background in marketing and finance and business that we think will be a good resource person to you. And so we certainly want to kind of use that as an opportunity to connect you as well. Number three, I think by just connecting with the global and local community, nonprofit organizations and other entities that are serving social causes, I just think we'll all be better served by thinking about our own passions and what are those opportunities locally and globally to kind of unpack those and to integrate with those. And then certainly I want to foster a sense of entrepreneurship among our student body. And I think this is a great opportunity to do that. Why should you participate? Right, most of you guys are, pretty booked out with classes, and this is additive to that. So, man, why in the world would you want to engage? Well, number one, I hope you're going to get some equipping tonight. I hope many of you, maybe not even business majors, need the basics of what does it mean to think about launching a business, and how might I go about that? So there's certainly an equipping aspect. I already mentioned the mentoring dimension. And kind of 3 rounds when you're going to be refining your ideas over time and kind of making them more realistic. We have $10,000 in prize money. So how cool is that, right? April 28th, before a live audience in Hostetter Chapel, we will have a live event with live judges. You will, if you make the finals, you'll actually do a live pitch that night. We'll talk all about that. We'll have text to voting that night. The judges will make up 90% of the vote, and we will mint a first, second, and third place team that night. And you'll have the money to go do, we hope, launch your venture, okay? And that's the ultimate. We really hope that this isn't just an activity that ends April 28th, right? I really believe that a year from now, when we do the Impact Venture Challenge 2, how cool would it be to see some of you up saying, this is what we did the past year. This is what we did with the $5,000. This is what God allowed us to kind of advance. So I'm really kind of excited about that, and I hope you are too. So lots of reasons for you to want to be here. Okay, real quick, I'm not going to read you all the eligibility, but I promised folks in Old Main I would make it clear what the eligibility requirements were. Very simply, you have to be a current student or an alum out less than 5 years. You can partner with other members of you can have other members of your team, but the students or recent alums must be the active, engaging, presenting part of the team. So you're free to partner with a nonprofit, even integrate them into your team, but you and your teammates have to kind of the Messiah students and current alums have to kind of own the development of the idea and the ultimate submission. If you are working with an existing entity, what we've kind of said is that it can be in existence for any of 2014, but it needs to have gross revenues of less than $100,000, which I'm hoping isn't too restricting for many of you. And there's a confidentiality notice that you'll be asked to sign when you actually submit your plan, and so you'll see all the details of that. Okay, so presumably if you're here, you're eligible, and that's going to kind of work, I think, pretty well. Okay, 3 rounds. Tonight kicks off round 1. We're calling it concept overview, and I'll delineate that 3-pager and what that's going to entail. At the end of each round, we will have that sad moment when we have to say, you didn't make it to round 2, or you didn't make it to round 3. Now, I don't know how many plans we're going to get. That's all one of the exciting things for us as a team. We don't know. I think we have a good turnout tonight, so that's encouraging, but you never quite know how it's going to play out. Okay, for round 2, on March the 8th, another Sunday night, we are going to do a similar workshop to get you ready for your round 2 submission. Your round 2 submission is going to be an 8 to 9 page document, which will include a tool you're going to use on the web called a Canvas business model tool to put on 1 page your entire business model. And round 2's workshop, I'll really prepare you for how to do that effectively. and then your narrative will be a write-up amplifying that one-page document. Okay, that'll be round 2. And again, you'll have a mentor assign. If you get notice back that you made it to round 2, your mentor and their contact information will be part of the notification. So you can immediately start to meet and engage and interact with your mentor. Then we'll have that sad day again, an elimination round, and then round 3. So if you make it to round 3, you've made it to the finals. All you're going to do between round 2 and round 3 is take the feedback you've gotten from your round 2 submission and improve it. Okay? Plus, you have to be prepared to deliver what we'll call your live pitch. How many of you have seen Shark Tank? Okay. I hesitate to use that metaphor because we're not Shark Tank. But the notion that you have to quickly articulate your vision, why it's going to be successful, and convince questioning judges that you have significant answers to the risks and challenges of your venture, that is what April 28th will be. We hope to pack out Hostetter Chapel. We are working on who those judges will be. They will be kind of fairly well known in the region, folks that have been successful in both the business realm, but definitely have a faith conviction about what they're doing. So that'll be a really cool live event, and but it'll be a gentle event too. So I don't want any of you to think that it's going to be a Shark Tank evening in the sense of the comments that are made and whatnot. It'll be a very uplifting night for us all. So that'll be kind of an exciting thing, and then the money will be awarded that night. Okay. And that's what I said. The prize money will be a total of $10,000. Really comes from the generosity of President Phipps and the Office of the President and Dean Maurer. So we have them to thank for the good marketing efforts of Ebby and Dylan and a generous administration. Okay, here's an overview of the process. Round 1, as we said, is your concept overview. You got a 3-page document. You're going to learn all about that tonight. To kind of tell your story and what your vision is. That'll be due by midnight on the 26th, and by March the 5th midnight, you will get notification from us. Okay? You're going to see a link, and this PowerPoint deck will be uploaded to our website, impactventurechallenge.com, tonight. What you're going to discover is we're using a portal called istart.org to be the place where we're managing that platform is being used to manage all your submissions. So you'll have very clear directions about where you're going to make your submissions. It will not be at impactventurechallenge.com. Think of that as our information portal and the istart.org portal as the place where we're going to manage the competition. Simply because it's got everything built in for submissions and forms and judges, and it just sort of makes it a lot easier for us. Okay, you make it to round 2, you breathe a sigh of relief maybe for the 27th of February, but you immediately start working. And those of you that are confident should already start working towards your round 2 submission, maybe even in advance of finding out that you made it. There you're actually going to tell us more about the actual business that you plan to launch and what social impact you hope to have. Okay, and we'll give you a lot of the details along the way about what you need to do. The round 2 workshop will give you everything you need in order to plan and prepare your round 2 submission. We're making no assumption about, some of you have never seen a balance sheet in your life and have never produced a profit and loss statement. That's okay. Our job, if we do it well, is to deliver on the promise that we're going to give you enough information to be able to get through that kind of modeling and recognize it's an 8 or 9 page document. So we're not looking for a 40-page business plan. We're just looking for a sense of what your idea is and the merit of your idea. And as I said, round 3 then will take place, you'll be due April 1st at midnight will be your round 2 submission. You'll find out on April 9th if you advance. And then the only thing you got to do between round 2 and round 3 is clean up your business plan, and really exciting, you're going to create your pitch. So your pitch is going to be really cool. One of the things we're going to say is take a minute to just do a cool video that just talks about your energy for where this idea came from. Again, think of Shark Tank. They do this, soundbite, not in the studio, but in whatever environment you want to do it. Part of what we're looking for is your creativity and how well you tell your story. Being an entrepreneur is largely about telling a story, right? And so how well do you do that is the question. And then in addition to that, you'll come that night to make about a 5-minute live presentation with whatever props you want. Those of you thinking about building something might actually want to have a working prototype that night to show. Or if it's a service, how are you going to convince the audience that you have a viable service and that there's a real opportunity? These are exciting things to think about, and the entrepreneurial mind has to say, how do I create this sense of excitement among our stakeholders? Right? That's kind of your job that night, which I think is going to be really kind of pretty awesome for you to experience. And there'll be a lot of resources that we'll start putting up on the website to kind of get you going. We talked about the prize money, and the only thing I'll say is while we intended the money to launch your venture, we can't require that. So your team might have that $5,000 reward and just realize we're not in a position to launch the venture. We hope that many of you do. And we hope that if you win the money and decide not to launch the venture, you might find a worthy cause that you can help in that regard, okay? So, but again, we can't prescribe that. It's kind of between you and the Lord, I guess, how you choose to use that money. We're just hoping that it will excite some of you to launch a venture, and if not, maybe be generous towards an organization that you found out about as part of the process. Okay, how are we staffing this? We've already introduced the organizing committee, thanks to Ebby and Dylan, and introducing everybody. Number 2, we've got mentors, and we're lining those up right now. You'll be, as I said, assigned a mentor if you make it to round 2. You'll know that by March 5th. And then finally, we're working on our judges list. And so that I'm hoping to be final in the next 2 weeks. I certainly hope by the time we launch round 2, we'll have that posted on our website. And that should be really exciting. We actually think some of our judges will be providing some prize money as part of that package that we're offering. So some of our judges might actually have real money in the game as they think about which venture they're going to vote for and such. So that'll be kind of exciting, I think. So real quick, and then we're going to start the vignettes. What is the meaning of impact entrepreneurship, and what is this idea? Where does it kind of come from? And this is what I want you to start thinking about. What are your passions? Your passions come from many different realms. For me personally, my oldest daughter is severely disabled and was from birth. I have real passion for people with intellectual disabilities. There isn't a day that goes by in my life where that's not part of my life. And I do all I can from an advocacy point of view and social justice point of view and in many different realms to sort of support that cause, okay? Many of you come from backgrounds that you've overcome a lot, and there's sort of embedded in your mind that passion about that thing that God's delivered you from or brought you from. Some of you have a love for food. I talked to a couple of foodies midweek about a restaurant idea that they're thinking about that I'm really, really excited about, and they're here tonight, so that's really cool. Some of you have a love for food, for sports, for music. All of those things are incredible opportunities to think about how can I take that passion and impact a community in the name of the Lord and have a venture that's successful as a business. That's what we're trying to do. We want to bring those things together, and I think that's going to be really kind of exciting to do. So the only thing on this slide I want to highlight is the last point. If you're true to being an impact entrepreneur, you're accountable to the constituents that you're trying to serve to help them achieve the outcomes you aspire for them. So no longer are we just satisfied that we're making money as a business, but it's the idea of we're creating this venture to also be in service to some community that we feel passionate about. And so we ultimately have accountability not only to our shareholders and the people that have invested in us, But if we're being true to the impact mantra, the impact orientation, we are accountable for the outcomes that we're hoping to achieve among the impact population we're trying to serve. Okay, and that's a really important thing that I want to kind of make sure you guys catch. So, first vignette is around this idea of faith-informed.
All right. Entrepreneurship, right? So what's it mean to be faith-informed? That's what we're trying to figure out, right? We've got these vignettes. We're going to just highlight some different firms as we introduce some of these different ideas to you. We're going to introduce impact to you. We're going to introduce faith-informed and just a few other things. But the firm that I'm going to highlight is called WebConnects. And to be faith-informed, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are writing on your website that we are Christians. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing development work or all of your profits are being given to the church. But it does mean that when you conduct your business and the way that you run your business, it's all through your Christian worldview. And it's all done for the glory of God. It's all with a gospel approach. And so some of their core values, to kind of give you an idea of how they feel about their business and what they say about themselves, is excellence. And everything we do, excellence is at the core. And so there's scripture about excellence. We hear that a lot here in the business curriculum. There's passion. This is not a job. We're here because we love what we do and believe what we do every day matters. Relationships, we value people above everything else. So we will always put people first. Putting others first is part of our priorities. Integrity, we trust each other, honor each other, respect each other, and serve each other with humility. I mean, that's kind of sounding like the way that Jesus walks, right? And then integrity. We trust each other. Oh, I just said that one. Competition. While we strive to be the best in each industry we serve, we will always treat our competitors with dignity and respect. And then vision. We build and work for the long term. They're not thinking about the short term. They're not thinking about just getting in, making some money, getting there, and then getting out. They're thinking about the long-term impact they can have in whatever industry they're a part of. Curtis, go ahead and tell them about Crochet Kids.
So, Crochet Kids is an organization formed by some college students. They learned to crochet and they thought it was a really neat idea, and so they started. They were snowboarders, so it was always the best thing to have the coolest hat on the slopes that day. So they started partnering with some organizations in Africa, and so they created these programs for women in Uganda and Peru. And so the women create really cool clothing, articles of clothing, stuff that you guys would love, stuff that we probably all wear, or type of thing that we would wear. And so it really is an economic development for them. It changes the community because it changes mothers, it changes their children, and then their entire family. And so it really changes when they're offered an opportunity to earn an income, and then they are given the opportunity to sign the piece of clothing. So when you support this company, you buy an article of clothing, you know exactly who made that, and you can go on their website and research who exactly made your article of clothing and find out their bio and see where they're coming from and what type of situation they're living in. Also with providing them education and their children a better lives by putting them in schools through the funding that they're giving their mothers. So if we go back to the PowerPoint, you guys can create small groups or whatever, whoever's around you, and just talk about what exactly it means to be faith-informed.
Be thinking about, so if you're here because you're interested in entrepreneurship, right? I mean, why else would you be here? Well, you're interested in starting a venture and being a part of it, right? So how are you going to integrate your faith into the way that you run that business? I mean, is that important to you? And so that's what we want you to be thinking about. We want you to be thinking about your concept definition and how you're going to integrate your faith into the business processes and the firm organization processes that you're going to have. So take a few minutes, talk with the people around you, and just kind of throw some ideas out there. What's that going to look like in your concept definition? Because we're going to be looking for it.
If you guys have any questions, you can tweet at IVC Messiah, hashtag IVC Ideas. If you have any questions or comments you'd like to answer, or just things not to talk about, upload it there, and then we can talk about it later on in the evening.
Dylan, you want to have any conversation?
So, yeah, what are some burning, points that you guys got out of that conversation? How about it? How are you going to do it? How are you going to integrate faith?
I mean, pretty much going around what you guys said, like some of the aspects of the different companies, like relationships, one of them. Just making sure that what you do is not about yourself at all. Like it's about others and it's about furthering the kingdom of Christ. Like that's pretty much going to be the forefront of the foundation of your business. Like you can't be about yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do one or two more.
We just kind of talked about like it's just like it doesn't have to be explicit things that you're saying or kind of illustrating, putting on a website or something, but just kind of the way you hold yourself and the way you conduct yourself, look after people, don't have, be honest and things like that.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, guys. Kind of going off that, just like it's not something you can just fake. It has to be like genuine. You can't just like put on my my faith suit today when I go to work. It's got to be something that that develops inside of you and that you really care about.
Yeah, it's got to be core, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be about who you are. We were talking about core values back here, and I think that's a huge part of it. It's a big part of the equation in making it successful.